Well, it is a done deal. President Obama is set to sign a law to avoid the fiscal cliff just one day after our nation went over that cliff. Wall Street is responding to the news. The Dow Jones closed up 300 points today, and you can see that the Nasdaq closed up almost 93 points. S&P 500 closed up 36 points. Crude oil trading at $92.96 a barrel. Now, as for the fiscal cliff, the House voted late last night on a package to avoid income tax increases on most Americans, allowing rates to rise for people who earn more than $400,000. More than $450,000. But as for billions in cuts across the federal budget, that was delayed for 2 more months. The next step is the debt ceiling.
We can't not pay bills that we've already incurred. If Congress refuses to give the United States government the ability to pay these bills on time, the consequences for the entire global economy would be catastrophic.
Now, the White House has not said when the president would receive and sign the bill.
Now, going over the cliff was avoided by last night's last-minute vote, and you saw the stock market numbers that show there is some comfort about the deal. But what does this mean for all of us? 24 Hour News 8 political reporter Rick Albin joins us now with that part of the story. Rick.
And it means different things to different people, but like so many things in Washington, this deal does both more and less than it would appear. On one hand, the big issue of making the Bush tax cuts permanent, or as permanent as anything gets in Washington, has been dealt with for everyone making under $400,000 a year, couples making under $450,000. Over that rate goes up to just less than 40%. Estate and capital gains taxes also go up, again, based on the size of the estate or gains. The alternative minimum tax that has vexed many people, just barely reaching the threshold but still having to pay it, has been dealt with, should impact fewer people. But the bill does not deal with those automatic spending cuts that were supposed to go into effect. So the net result, at least in the short term, is that there will be more revenues and no cuts. There will also be other tax increases. Those will affect almost all of us. The Social Security or payroll tax that had been reduced by 2% last year will go back up. The deal will also continue spending by extending long-term unemployment benefits, child tax and earned income credits, and giving more incentives for renewable energy. Cuts in Medicare reimbursements that were scheduled to drop by more than 25% are also being put on hold. In all, the bill provides more revenue and at the same time puts those Bush tax cuts in place for most Americans. It is likely that the only deal that could have gone through in the short term was this one, but it hardly addresses the long-term problem. So what's next? We're going to talk about that tonight at 6 o'clock. The fight's just barely begun.
Yeah, I think the Republicans made that clear last night.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Rick.
Well, you can break it down even further and see how the deal will affect what comes out of your wallet, depending on your income. We have it all spelled out in a special slideshow. You can find that right now at the bottom of our homepage at woodtv.com. Just look for the slider graphic tab.
And coming up, we'll have even more reaction from Capitol Hill on the fiscal cliff deal. Plus, how did your local representative vote? We're breaking that down all at 5:30.